welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Faye. This is a space where we talk all things thrifty, sustainability, ethical, conscious fashion, and of course, shameless plug, OPSHOPULENCE. So it's all about finding the beauty and the luxury and the decadence in secondhand and mindful fashion. So what's already in existence. And for today's video, I really want to talk about Halloween. First of all, because having spent quite a bit of time in New York, I'm obsessed. It's my favorite holiday. I love it so much. It gives me such a great opportunity to dive into my creativity. But the other reason I want to talk about it is because nothing is scarier than the waste that Halloween can produce. I found a fantastic article recently which is looking at some of the predictions for Halloween 2022, but also looking back at previous years. So I will share the link to that article in the description of this video so you can check it out and do your own research and due diligence. But there's definitely quite a bit on the internet that you can uncover in terms of Halloween waste. So the first thing that I noticed in this article was how much we're spending on Halloween every year. So the majority of these statistics really relate more to the United States and the United Kingdom, because in Australia, in terms of celebrating and getting into Halloween, we still have a little bit of catching up to do. But the first thing that stood out for me was how much is being spent on Halloween every year, $300 million. So that's going out and buying new things, buying costumes, buying candy, buying decorations, when really there's so much in existence, whether it be in our wardrobe, whether it be in a local thrift store, or what we've already got lying around the house or even in nature that we could utilize. And in terms of those costumes, buying them new, a lot of the time they're only worn once. So there's 7 million of those costumes that are just being discarded every year. And I know that for sure because I've found some great things in thrift stores that have never even been worn. They still have the tags on them. I recently found this incredible Batgirl corset that still had the tags on it. And it just goes to show you how much we're sort of still encouraged to buy new and not think about the options for secondhand. The other statistic that was really frightening to me was thinking about how much plastic is being wasted every year. So get this, the equivalent of 520 elephants of plastic waste is happening every year with Halloween. So that's coming from things like costumes that are made from plastic, decorations, all the candy that's wrapped in plastic. And there really are so many options. In terms of the candy, you can take your own containers and get candy from a bulk store, or you could make candy, you could make biscuits, use what you might have at home in terms of clothing, look in your wardrobe, borrow from friends, get creative. And I'm going to dive into that in this video and show you a few examples of costumes that I've created just using what I have and what I found in a thrift store. And in terms of the decorations, there's so much that you can do with natural elements. So think about, flowers and twigs and leaves, especially if you're in the US, there's all of those beautiful, and the UK, you're coming into winter. So there's all these gorgeous leaves that are falling off the trees. You can utilize them. You can utilize feathers. You can utilize old glass jars. Just a simple little dive around Pinterest, eco Halloween ideas or thrifty Halloween ideas. There's so much there. I have some boards on my Pinterest that you can check out as well that I hope inspires you. So now that we've looked at some of the statistics in terms of Halloween and how it can be really wasteful, let's get creative and excited about having a green Halloween. I thought what would be fun and helpful to do is have a look at some of my costumes that I've created for Halloween or green Halloween in the last few years. And the first one that I want to talk to you about is the concept of Slow White. So I got really inspired by Snow White, and then I made her slow and sustainable and conscious and thrifty. So the first thing I did was create a mood board, and I put all of these beautiful visual references that really helped me to tap into my creativity, but also stopped me from shopping and really helped me to dive into, well, what do I already have that will give me that feel? So this is the costume that I created, and what I did was I started just really simply with a slip dress. That was my base. And then I had some fun with my husband's business shirts. Actually, I just grabbed his white collared shirts or white button downs, and I actually cinched them around my waist. So I put a belt on, and then I've layered the collars of those shirts over the belt to create this really amazing voluminous skirt. So that real kind of like princess, you know, Disney fairy tale kind of vibe. And then for the top part, I grabbed another white shirt, which I had actually cropped a little while ago. And that's a really cool tip to just reinvent some classic pieces, especially if they're natural fibers. You can just crop them, and then when you throw them in the machine, they get this really lovely natural fray to them. So I already had that as well. So I grabbed that out and I placed one of my corsets over the top. This is all thrifted. And then I thought, okay, how can I add some more like decadence and real kind of Disney princess vibes? Huge brooch fan / addict. I have a lot, and every time I go into a thrift store, I'm always looking for brooches. Hi, do you have any brooches? Because I always like to keep them, especially with my travels. They're really nice mementos. So what I did was I completely encrusted the bust section of the corset with all of my brooches to create this really ornate and decadent feel. And then with what's in my hair, I actually already had some flowers that were a gift for my birthday, Libran season, and I had some spray paint, and I just spray painted them gold. So I made like a little crown, Disney princess crown, and it's from nature. So that was probably one of my favorite costumes I've ever made, because it was so fun and so ethereal, and it really took me on a journey, but it also proved to me just how creative you can be with what's already in existence. Okay, this is last year's Halloween costume that I created, my green Halloween offering. So I was thinking about waste and I was thinking about rubbish, and I was actually out walking one day and I put something in the bin and I noticed it said general waste, as it does on a bin, right? Or a trash can. And I was like, general waste? What if I could create this general or this kind of soldier of sustainability and make it into this really fun character? So again, I just dived into what I had, and then I actually had fabric scraps, and I found some fabric scraps in my local thrift store, and then I just went to town with being creative. So you can see that there's a really full tulle skirt there. I've had that for so long. It cost me $5. It is the best piece because I can layer it, I can play with it, and it can create such a great base for so many of my costumes. Then I added a jacket, and then I've cinched my waist, which is a big thing for me. I love it, any kind of corseting. But you'll look closely and you can see this really interesting sort of texture. And I think this is something I love to do with my styling is, you know, I can't fully sew on a machine, but I love to manipulate fabric and twist it and tuck it and turn it around to see what form it could take. So I was inspired by a few different designers, one in particular, Ada Hackerman. There's a lot of layering and a lot of beautiful kind of folds and pleating and just general decadence in their outfits. So what I did was, with this scrap piece of leather, was that I cinched it, and then once I cinched it, it created this amazing kind of corseting effect. And then on the jacket, the pocket was slightly ripped, so I ripped it even further to expose the inside, and then I wrote all of these little eco terms, you know, like reuse, reinvent, rethink, and just little kind of nods that when you look closer at an outfit, it has all these great details. Then I added a hat, very soldier-like, and this is all things I had in my house and in my wardrobe. And my husband went as Woody from Toy Story, and he had everything that he's wearing as well. Cowboy boots, jeans, a shirt. I think we just got him a cravat from our local Salvos, and we were good to go. The other really fun way to dive into a green Halloween is to look to fashion for inspiration. So this year, myself and these amazing ladies that you can see on the screen are creating a high fashion Halloween challenge. So we each have a day and we're diving into a different designer inspiration and really being creative with that, thinking about what we've got, thinking about what we could reinvent, restyle, DIY, and mix up and create this fantastic story of like green Halloween and inspire you guys to do the same. So be sure to check out that challenge on our Instagrams. I'll put all of the details in the section below this video so you can join us. We would absolutely love you to. My theme for the high fashion challenge, high fashion Halloween challenge, is I came up with this concept of Dior and dystopian, a dystopian world, a kind of post-apocalyptic, like, what would happen if, fast fashion just completely took over and we became all these fast fashion robots and, we're in this kind of parallel universe, but also apocalyptic in terms of what we're doing to the planet. So I created my own word, DIOR-stopian. So it'll be a deep dive into Dior history, Dior tailoring, especially the new look from the 50s, that, exaggerated waist, and that really kind of celebration of femininity, especially after the war. Christian Dior was, is still known for that iconic development in fashion, really shifting the way that women were dressing and really celebrating their curves and celebrating femininity. So I definitely want to look at that. And then this whole concept of dystopia, cyberpunk, apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic, like what would that look like if we took this futuristic vision and teamed it with vintage and history and fashion of the past. So I've got a mood board and you can join me on Pinterest to check that out, and I'm slowly kind of gathering ideas from my wardrobe and all the pieces that I have to think about how I could create a DIOR-stopian look. But the other girls have some fantastic topics too, so please do join us for high fashion Halloween. I'll read you some of the prompts and you can see the flyer here on the screen, but they're so good. So starting on the 27th of October is Gothic Victorian, and that's with Yana. And then on the 28th is me, DIOR-stopian. The 29th is Carnival Couture, which I love. Shop in Your Closet is hosting that one. 30th of October, how good's this? Ghoulchi, so taking Gucci but making it ghouly and ghosty, and I just think that's so fantastic, and that's with Style Mel Thrifted. And then on the 31st, which is actually Halloween, it's a big kind of culmination and celebration of all the creativity that's been, bursting out from this challenge, and it's really celebrating high fashion Halloween as a whole. So do please join us. We would absolutely love to get creative with you, and be sure to check out my Instagram, my TikTok, my blog. There'll be lots of prompts and interesting kind of facts and stats on there as well for a green Halloween. Now, I'm no Martha Stewart, but I have definitely had some fun with creating green Halloween decorations over the years. I actually made little bats from toilet rolls, so I will include the link to where I found that and how you can do it in this video as well. And that's so fun if you've got kids, because it's really easy, they can color in and they just look super cute. The other thing I love to do is dress my doorstep or my stoop or my porch with things that I've already got. I love feathers, putting them in glass jars, also using leaves, using branches, branches with no leaves on them, just in a glass jar, can look a little bit eerie. Obviously pumpkins. And here's the thing with pumpkins, they can be wasteful too, because many people buy them and then they just discard of them. So use them, enjoy them, cook with them. You can make amazing brownies out of pumpkins. So think about what you could do with it. Make a great soup, really use that whole vegetable. Don't just discard of it. So I like to put them on my doorstep and then eat them after. What else do I do? I use, bits of wood. I can make my own signs from discarded bits of timber. You really don't have to buy plastic decorations. I mean, if you are going to, do try to buy them secondhand. You can find a lot of them in stores. in thrift stores, and then just keep them in a collection and keep using them and re-loving them. There's so much that we can do as individuals, and the more that each person consciously makes that shift, the more consumer habits, the more brand habits, the more shopping habits, the more the industry will change as a whole. So as a consumer, you really can be that powerful, and just inspiring the people around you, inspiring your family, inspiring your kids to just think in a more mindful and green way when it comes to Halloween. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it inspires you to slow down and think mindfully. Think about how you could have a green Halloween. It's so much better for people and the planet. I can't wait to show you my outfit. I can't wait to get into the challenge on Instagram. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you for joining me. Please like, comment, subscribe, join me in the conversation. Tell me how you're going to be green for this Halloween, because remember, nothing is scarier than waste. Okay, my loves, I will see you really soon for the next one. Mwah. Bye.